Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Blue Line Blast Podcast. Jim Biringer and Matthew Blittner. A little, Passover Easter surprise because
Greek Easter
even Greek Easter. That's very true because we're supposed to be back on the 13th, but we got breaking news on Monday involving New Jersey Devils. Tom Fitzgerald no longer the president and general manager of this team. The decision handed down by the managing partner, David Blitzer, and it's a move everybody saw coming.
Oh, so many people saw this coming. They thought this was coming back in January. There are fellow Devils writers who thought this was coming back on Thanksgiving. We'll put that aside.
Even last year.
But you know what? They made the playoffs last year. So
and folks, don't forget, don't trust AI because
do not trust AI.
Because AI saying they would miss the playoffs 2 years in a row. That is not now, was the Carolina series that uneventful that people forget they were in the playoffs?
I think it was more of people want to forget how bad Carolina manhandled them, but that's besides the point.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Tom Fitzgerald, yes, there were a lot of negatives surrounding him as GM and president of the Devils. Obviously, people will focus on the fact that Quinn Hughes was not obtained this year. They will focus on all the no move and no trade clauses handed out. Folks, that's the cost of doing business in the modern day NHL. Okay?
14? But 14?
It's still the cost of doing business, especially when you have a franchise that a lot of players didn't want to go to because the Devils had missed the playoffs. Most years, they'd only made the playoffs once in the last 12 years before, players like Dougie Hamilton started coming over.
Andre Palat was a big one.
You have to sometimes overpay a bit in order to get people to come and establish an identity, establish a culture that people want to win. And it's one of those things where, yes, they didn't make the playoffs this year, but outside of that losing 26 out of 41 stretch, they were a pretty good team outside of that. And yes, I know 41 is still half of the season, but there are building blocks for this team. This is not a strip it down, tear it down, start over from scratch situation. This is going to be a very attractive situation for whoever the incoming general manager and or president of hockey operations is going to be. Most likely, from what we're hearing, it's going to be two people, one as the president, one as the general manager. Collectively, they will supposedly decide on Sheldon Keefe's fate, although Sheldon Keefe could potentially be fired for a clean slate before that ever happens. Sheldon said today that he will be part of the evaluation process, so
that's
who knows
usually
what that
the
means.
case, though, with a new general manager, new president of hockey operations that comes in. They want to bring in their own individuals. Now, we did see last year with the Islanders, obviously Matthew Darche kept Patrick Waugh, though he made the coaching change. More on that when we talk about it on Monday. But again, here with the Devils, you said it, Sheldon Keefe's going to say, look, he says he wants to be part of the solution. He believes he can be part of the solution, right? He's been saying it all year when people have asked him about his job security. However, the fact of the matter is something wasn't right with this team, system-wise, player-wise, roster health-wise. But injuries can't be an excuse this year. They just can't. Last year, you got it. Last year, it saved his job. The final stretch of the season wasn't going to do it. Too many injuries, right? Again, poor roster.
Not enough depth. Goes to roster construction.
Right. Again, but not enough installation of your top stars. And as we've discussed with how many people on this show, from Arthur Staple, we had Vic Moran on here from Wraparound Podcast, NHL, right? With Neil Smith. How many times have we discussed this? The team is poorly constructed, poorly insulated, and the offense runs through one guy.
Offense really does run through one guy, but boy, what a guy that is in Jack Hughes when he is healthy and playing at his best like he is currently right now. He's on, I believe it's a 99-point pace prorated, of course, right now, since the Olympic break. And just goes to show what he can do. But again, that's why this is going to be an attractive job for whoever the incoming management team is going to be. You have Jack Hughes. You have Nico Hischier. Yes, he has 1 year left on his deal. He fell short of committing beyond that, but there's no reason for him to.
No, he doesn't need to lose. He doesn't need to lose leverage right now.
Right, there's no reason for him to say anything. They have some intriguing pieces on defense, whether it's Luke Hughes, Simone Nemec, Dougie Hamilton for all the hand-wringing. Guess what? He's actually had a pretty good second half of the year ever since he had the healthy scratch.
Supposed healthy scratch.
Brendan Dillon and Brett Pesce, yes, injuries catch up with them, but you needed some stay-at-home veteran in tough defensive types.
Not to interrupt you here, but like Brett Pesce's been excellent for this defense core, especially the progress of Luke Hughes. He's given him a stable guy that could just stay at home and let Luke Hughes do his thing. Again, it's more upfront, realistically, in the top six, getting that goal scorer, getting just something so when a guy like Jack goes down or another top player goes down, your offense keeps rolling and you don't have to change systems and you don't have to be defensive minded and only average a goal a game. Imagine if they played this style of hockey that they're playing now, during that stretch. Maybe if they had another guy, they don't have to rush Jack back.
And Timo Meier was supposed to be that guy,
right.
But Timo Meier has not been the most consistent offensive producer. Yes, right now he is on a bit of a heater. Of course, we're just coming out of Meier madness in the month of March, in which Timo just turns supernova. He has, I believe, it's 7 goals, 11 points in his last 12 games.
Ridiculous. And he carried it over into April because I do believe he...
Well, March Madness tournament carried over into April.
True.
That's exactly what happened.
It's true. It does. It usually starts with Meier March and usually ends in Meier March. But, hey, it's carried over. Good for him. Because, he committed long-term. He's a guy that Tom Fitzgerald brought in, a guy he signed long-term dollars to, right? And I think, like you said, everything added up. The losing the contract negotiations, not, getting Quinn Hughes, the cap space, the normal, like every little piece. And I think the same thing goes with what was said in Toronto when it came to Brad Treliving losing his job. At some point, ownership's tired of hearing it about, it's on me, I failed the team. At some point, the accountability, while it's great, can cost a manager his job.
Look, someone had to be held accountable. It's probably going to be more than just one person who's going to be held accountable. There will be significant changes to the Devils organization. Jim, we were discussing it at dinner. This is my pick. Brendan Shanahan is the so-called early favorite to be the president of hockey ops. He obviously played for the Devils back in the day. He has a very lucrative career, very illustrious career as a president of hockey ops, as someone in hockey ops in general across the National Hockey League. We'll see whether Sheldon Keefe stays or goes. If he goes, I don't see why you wouldn't bring in someone like Bruce Cassidy if Cassidy's still around. Just from a media perspective, I'd love to see John Tortorella get a shot at it, but that's not going to happen.
No, he'll probably stay in Vegas. We'll see.
And then GM-wise, I've been saying this for years in articles. Kevin Weeks, GM.
Why
right
not?
There.
Why not Kevin Weeks? Guy's one of the most influential guys in the National Hockey League right now. What he does insider on TV, he knows the game. He has great sources, does great work. He's unbelievable at what he does. And here's the thing with Kevin Weeks, such a great guy, understands the business. But also, here's another guy, the former Devil, Jamie Langenbrunner up in Boston. He's a really good player. He understands the business. He's been learning the ropes as an assistant general manager. So there's going to be a lot of options. Obviously, everybody's going to hear about Sonny Mehta if he's still available. What about Mike Gillis if he doesn't go to Toronto? Again, Tyler Dello's in there. There's the same group of characters. Obviously Evan Gold's another name. So there's going to be the same group of characters that's going to be available everywhere. But this was just a move by the New Jersey Devils to say, hey, we don't want to be left at the altar again. You don't want to come in third place, second place. As we've seen at the Island now, if the guy you want is available, you go and get him.
Absolutely, Jim. You go and get him. And the Devils are going to go and potentially get him tonight against the Flyers.
We'll see what happens, guys. Blue Line Blast Podcast, Jim Biringer, Matthew Blittner. Take care. We'll see you Monday.